Good morning, friends. Ann here. Got my cup of coffee, got the Word of God, and today's reading is from Acts chapter 9, verses 1 through 19. Friends, in this passage, we read about Saul and his conversion. Now, Saul was a persecutor of Christians. Like in the scale of persecution, he was absolutely right at the very top. He would arrest Christians, he would go after Christians, he would stand around while Christians were murdered. He was one of the biggest persecutors of believers of that day, followers of the way as they were known. But here we read in the story that nobody is outside the purview of God's grace. God met him, Jesus met him on the road to Damascus, and this bright light shone down, and a voice from heaven said, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And Saul was taken aback, and he fell down, and he was blinded, and he began to have this experience of realization of who Jesus really was. And so he went into Damascus, he went to a home, and he stayed there for 3 days. Now, meanwhile, God made a visit to Ananias. And it says this in verse 10, "In Damascus, there was a disciple named Ananias. The Lord called to him in a vision, 'Ananias.' 'Yes, Lord,' he said. The Lord told him, 'Go to the house of Judas on Straight Street and ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul, for he is praying.' In a vision, he has seen a man named Ananias come and place his hands on him to restore his sight." "Lord," Ananias answered, "I have heard many reports about this man and all the harm he has done to your holy people in Jerusalem. And he has come here with authority from the chief priest to arrest all who call on your name." Ananias is saying, "Lord, do you know what you're asking me to do? You're asking me to go and heal a man who will then, when he regains his sight, just arrest me and throw me in jail." But the Lord responds, "Go, this man is my chosen instrument to proclaim my name to the Gentiles and their kings and to the people of Israel. I will show him how much he must suffer for my name." So even in the midst of his fear, even in the midst of his anxiety, even in the midst of his doubt, Ananias follows God's instructions. And he goes to the house and he lays his hand upon Saul. And it says this in 18, "Immediately something like scales fell from Saul's eyes and he could see again. He got up and was baptized, and after taking some food, he regained his strength." And friends, that was the beginning of the most effective and famous apostle and missionary of all times. Friends, the beautiful thing is that God uses unexpected people to accomplish his purpose. He uses people that you and I may be scared of, may be distrusting of. He uses people who have harmed us in the past. And through his grace and his love and his mercy, he can change people's hearts. And so the realization here is that not only did Saul's eyes need to be opened, but Ananias's eyes needed to be opened to the transforming power of the gospel. That someone like Saul, who was the highest level of persecutor of the early Christians, could be brought into God's fold, could be one of God's children, one of his chosen appointed apostles to do his work. Friends, I want your eyes to be open and my eyes to be opened so that we can see the potential and the possibility in each person, because God works in unexpected ways. Have a good day.